everybody some time to get better on it. So,
Yes, I've gotten better on so many, levels because of COVID. How about you?
uh, man, I don't know. Um, Maybe in some regards, I think I'm a little bit better on some of the like digital media stuff, which I didn't spend any time doing digital media stuff. I mean, I was strictly doing live performances, so I didn't do any of that. So the COVID's definitely pushed me in that direction, I would say.
Yes. I thought digital meant this.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, right? I have 10 digits, 20 if you count my toes, right? What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Now we're talking. Facebook, welcome. Have a seat. This is the wedding of Jim Bryan and Linda Marcus Smith. Okay, it's not. It's just an
Mm,
interview. But if you're here for Jim Bryan, you can sit over on that side. And if you're here for me, you can sit on my side. There's no, it's COVID, so there's no Elvis to officiate anything.
yeah, well, I miss Vegas.
Let me, you'll have to come and I'll take you out to coffee because I'm rich. I can afford Starbucks still.
Oh, can you? Man,
Yes,
$10 a coffee. Well, I tell
I'm
you what.
killing it. Yeah. It's expensive on the strip to get a Starbucks, like 3 times the price.
Is it now?
Yeah, it's
Oh gosh, I haven't been back in years. So,
you'll have to come because Tropicana is open, Jokesters,
oh, that's
Steve
cool.
McAnally. Some of them are opening up and they're actually, get this, folks, they're actually using masks and social distancing. So
That's good. Yeah,
killing
that's
it here
great.
in
Yeah,
Vegas.
that's cool, man.
Yeah, they don't want that crazy mayor down their throats.
Yeah, I heard your mayor earlier in the year. I heard your mayor. She made some news, right?
She did. She was
And
off the
she
wall.
wasn't she she's the wife of the mayor. What the hell was his name? I was living there.
Oscar the Grouch Goodman.
Yeah, Oscar Goodman, the mob lawyer, right? Wasn't he like a
Yeah,
mob lawyer or something like that? Yeah, only in Vegas, man. Isn't
and the Goodmans are really like leaving Vegas with a real funky name now.
that funny?
Yeah. I come from Portland, Oregon, and that town has been really keeping it weird lately.
Yeah, I've been reading about Portland. I just saw that their mayor had stated that he'd approved any and all means of legal intervention for that autonomous zone. I read that this morning. I've never been up that. That's the one part of the country I've never been up to is the Pacific Northwest. I've been pretty much around the rest of it, but that's just one area I never made it up to.
Yeah. It's a great area. My comedy was like nobody wanted to hear a little old white lady who was straight as an arrow talk. But I did help a lot of open mic comics to learn to smoke when I went on stage.
Yeah, right. Old school. No batteries required.
I'll probably outlive them because they'll be dying of cancer from smoking. How's that for a happy thought? I'm going to read the introduction that this funny, funny comedian club owner sent me. You got to hear this, you guys. So here I go again, trying to do an introduction. Let's see if I can nail this one.
All
Okay.
right, stick the landing. You got this.
Jim's a comedian first, club owner second. His albums, Where the Hell is Easy Street, available everywhere that you stream music, and Laid Back Maniac on Amazon Prime, were both recorded at his home club, Church of Satire Comedy Club. I want to join. The word of the club has spread to nearby cities. Hanover, Pennsylvania is a comedy spot. You read the last sentence accurately. Oh, thank God. I love being validated.
Mhm.
Come and revel in the silly madness that is Jim's life. More stories to bust your gut. More glimpses into the mind and the imagination of the guy who quit his stable career to live his childhood dream. Jim has performed in a lot of places around the country and with a ton of amazing comedians. We got to hear about this. He's been on TV. Holy Toledo. In an early in an early 1980s local Las Vegas Toyota dealership commercial, when he was 4 years old. What were you doing when you were 4? I don't remember. Tell you the truth.
Mhm.
Nobody expects me to, so I'm good. No matter where he may be performing, he happily calls the, let me go back up to
You got
Church
it. See,
of
it's
Satire.
COS. Yeah, COS, just a shortened version.
Church of Satire Comedy Club his home. No matter where he's performing, he happily calls the Church of Satire Comedy. I mixed it up. Sure, I got it right. Church of
Mhm.
Satire Comedy Club his home. Going back down here to the end, like really home. His kids watch the TV in the green room and act as a makeshift concierge for visiting headliners. OMG. Welcome
Mhm.
to Comic Spot. Let's get to know, like, and support the amazing Jim Bryan. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate you having me on.
Are we out of time?
Yeah, that's a wrap.
What's the funniest thing that you've experienced in your entire comedy life? And then I'll go back to your childhood and move forward. But in a
The
nutshell,
the
Jim Bryan.
funniest thing, the
Yeah.
funniest thing. Well, all right. I mean, me personally, because I mean, I've had some funny moments at the club. Obviously, there's some funny folks in there, but I mean, for me personally, I think one of the funniest thing that's happened to me actually happened recently, oddly enough, where because I don't get heckled a whole lot. Um, it's just not something I've ever really had to deal with, mainly because of like, the manner of my routine or whatever. It doesn't like call for a great deal of polarizing thinking, right? But I was doing an outdoor show, one of these COVID shows, it's cold. It's like wearing a jacket and a hood. Yeah, I'm cold, it's like this is what it's come to. And I'm out there. I'm doing this show. It's a great show. It's a fun show. It's down in like the Maryland area, and I start getting heckled by this drunk dude in the front. Now, mind you, I'm telling a joke about like my observations of how wild animals tend to cross the road and cause so much havoc, right? And this guy got so mad because I think in his like sort of drunken haze, he had put it together in his head that I aimed for animals when I was driving. Like I went out of my way to swerve and hit animals, right? This guy was screaming at me. He was like, ah, you know, and because I don't generally have a great deal of experience with hecklers because it doesn't come up that much. I was kind of like the way that I handled it. I just sort of and I didn't even really pay too much mind to it until afterwards. The guys on the show were like, "Man, that was wild," because I had kind of let the guy know the crowd was getting mad. They was like yelling at this guy, being like, "Shut up, man! Like this is the headliner. We want to hear this guy's." But I was like, "Everybody, calm down. Everybody, calm down. This guy has rights. He can speak his mind. You know what I mean?" And I killed him with kindness to where he kept yelling at me, and I was just like, speak your truth, man. Speak your truth. Say it like it is. And we had such a fun time that, I mean, we must have joked about him all the way out until he walked through the parking lot. We were catcalling him and hollering at him, it was so funny. I never had so much fun with a crowd uh, talking about some drunk we just kicked out. It was really something else. It was a good time.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is really a great way to treat a heckler.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The next day in the shower, I was like, man, I should have tore that guy up. But at the time, I was just that's just how I handled it. I let the fool keep being a fool, and the crowd just turned on him more. The more he talked, the more he dug himself into a hole he couldn't get out of. So, I mean, the none of the venue staff really had to kick him out. The whole damn crowd kicked him out. It was hilarious. Plus, mind you, this guy's yelling at me about killing animals and stuff while he's eating a hamburger, you know. It's like, what a jerk. This guy. People.
I just heard on the news here in Vegas that the veterans hospitals have been using kitty cats for, for doing research, like billions or millions. I don't know, seven something figures, million or billion. It doesn't matter. I've got tens in my wallet, but Gajillions of monies have been spent killing little kitty cats for research.
To
Came
what?
out
To make mascara or something? I mean, I don't. For what
some kind of
purpose?
illness where cats have to give up
Well,
their life.
that's a tough nut to crack sometimes because we've been experimenting on animals for a very long time. For
Okay.
I got one right here with me. There's a little kitty cat.
Oh, I love black cats.
Yeah, he's
What's the
new.
name of your cat?
His name's Jet.
Jet. What a great name.
Yeah,
Jet
they
Black.
the we have so many animals here. My wife's got a thing where she like kind of just takes in strays whenever.
Oh,
Uh, I've more or less accepted it, but I'm a Jets fan because being growing up in New York, so my family thinks that like, oh, if we name the cat Jet, Daddy will be okay with a seventh cat in the house. It's like whatever. He's a really good cat though. I've been trying to like kind of get tight with him because there's seven of us here in this house, uh, and everybody's kind of got you know their ride or die sort of pet partner, but I don't have one. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a go-to pet. So I'm like trying to make this pet my go-to pet, but I don't think it's working. I think he likes my kids better than he likes me.
so there's 7 of you people, humans,
Hmm.
and 7 cats.
Well, what do we got? We may have 6 cats. I buried a cat actually not that long ago. So,
Oh, sorry.
uh, yeah, circle of life. You know what I mean? Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cats. 6 cats in the house. 3 dogs in the house.
3
One,
dogs. What kind of dogs?
all mutts, all rescues. Yeah, all rescues. I got a puggle um, that I sort of took home. I used to run a retirement community, uh, and this dog was just it wouldn't shut up. It was driving the staff crazy. So I told the family, I was like, you got to find another home for this dog, man. It's driving my staff nuts. And they were like, well, we can't find a home. What are you gonna do about it? And I was like, son of a bitch, I guess I'll take it home. And I brought it home thinking it probably just didn't like being stuck in that apartment. There's no way it's going to be this annoying. The dog hasn't shut up in like 5 years. Probably be annoying until its very last breath. And oddly enough, if I were to have my wife come up here and say, "Hey, honey, which one of these animals is my closest compadre?" It'd be that damn dog.
So funny. You are hilarious. I knew that when you were just texting me back to to nail out the details of coming on the show. I knew you were hilarious. Not this funny. You're stinking hilarious.
Oh, that's cool, man. Thank you.
Talk to me about when you were growing up. Let's go back to the seed, the beginning. When did funny come out of you?
Oh man, I don't know. I think I always kind of liked amusing adults. When I was a kid. I think it made me feel more mature to be able to amuse adults, not so much in like a little kid running into the piano table, but like making them laugh. So I think that probably was the beginning of it, getting validation and affirmation from adults probably pushed me towards not being a comedian, but seeing that there was some benefit to my being able to be humorous. I could get things out of it. Um, but being a comedian, live at the Sunset Strip with Richard Pryor was it. I heard that. I didn't see it. I mean, I heard it on vinyl, oddly enough. And I was like, whoa, dude. I was too young to be listening to it. I can tell you that. Because I knew I was like, man, there's a lot of bad language in this. This is awesome. But just once once I once I heard that, um, I was like, dude, I want to do this. And then I got big into watching Saturday Night Live, which a lot of people did. I mean, Saturday Night Live's been popular forever, um, and it made me see that you could be funny and you could seemingly be having a lot of fun, and you could be affirmed and validated by even larger groups of people. It just the whole thing was very attractive to me at a very young age.
Who have been some of the best comics that you've never figured out what they're doing and you still to this day marvel at what they did?
Well, Richard Pryor for one, um, just because there was just so much ease and confidence in the delivery. Robin Williams, I have no idea how you unhinge yourself so much to be so free from nose to toes with every muscle in your body. Uh, it's to me it's from another world, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty confident performer, you know. I think most comics are, or at least outwardly. I think outwardly and inwardly I'm a pretty confident performer, but I can't even fathom letting myself go to the Robin Williams degree. It's
Yes.
just it really is a sight to see.
Yes, it is. In Vegas, what city are you in?
I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in South Central Pennsylvania. There's a 100% chance you've never heard of the town I'm from. It's called Abbottown, but that's
Oh,
where I'm at now. Yeah, that's where I'm at now.
where's Costello Town?
Costello Town. Hell if I know, man. Huh?
Yeah. So, we were talking about you getting into comedy and you marvel at Robin Williams, and I'm here in Vegas. And in Vegas, we have a comedian who started with Robin in San Francisco, Stephen Pearl. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I don't think so.
His comedy is very similar to Robin. They travel together, and
That's so cool.
yeah,
That's so cool.
he's as
Yeah,
close
I'll
as it
I'll admit I don't consume a great deal of stand up. Um, I think probably around when I started doing stand up in the early 2000s, I kind of stopped watching stand up. Um,
gets. Good.
Apart from watching it live, you know, I was just really concerned that I might pick up, you know, more of another comedian than I would like, you know. So I think that's probably when. So like I think I was watching Chappelle, um, uh, CK, early 2000s. Um, you know, some of those were probably the most contemporary comics that the last batch of them that I really followed. But now, you know, as a club owner now I see so many submission clips, and so, you know, I mean, the only way I know who's up and coming and who's relevant at this point is either who's totally famous or who sends me an email to get a gig at the club.
Absolutely. So, how is your club doing through the pandemic?
Terrible. It's
Getting off
closed.
topic now. What?
Yeah, closed. It's been closed since March. We haven't done anything, nor can we. State guidelines here are such that having a show, I think I have a small venue. It's kind of what makes it what it is, but I think I could fit 10 people under the new guidelines. So, I mean, I'd rather make no money than lose money. Uh, so yeah, we've been closed the whole time. It's been a real struggle. We did outdoor shows in the summer. We did a summer series where we did 2 months worth of outdoor shows out in the grass at this really cool venue, which was great. But, you know, once September came, that sort of contract expired. And after that, really zero. Just trying to find other ways to make money on the side in order to even pay the bills to keep it open. And we're been able to do that for the last 9 months, which, you know,
Great.
I'm pretty happy about it. But it doesn't look like this is going to end anytime soon. I have no reason to believe that in the next 3 months
No.
things are going to change such that I can put 50 people back in my club. So got to just come up with more plans, come up with more hustles, and come up with more side business, and just make it work. Just figure it out.
Yes. Do you have Zoom shows where you take donations or charge an entrance fee?
No, I have not done. I've done some Zoom shows, me personally, and I've had like a mixed experience. You know what I mean? But it's something that I haven't really had a great deal of desire to do it from the club. The main reason for that, honestly, because I'm not hating on Zoom shows. That's not. I'm not, because I know there's kind of there's always a two sides thing to everything, right? So it's like with Zoom shows, it seems like we just can't appreciate that we're just doing we're doing the best. There's either we love Zoom shows or Zoom shows are crap, you know, and that seems to be the spectrum here. Honestly, I'm a centrist in a lot of ways, you know. I just, for me personally, I was like, this kind of sucks. I don't really like this. I kind of like leaving my house. Comedy gives me a reason to get out of here. Um, Being like, okay, I got a comedy show. I'm gonna be 15 feet away from you guys. Doesn't really give me the separation that I think I didn't really. How do I phrase this? I don't know that I really appreciated how much getting out of the house and going to a place to do stand up and to, perform. I was kind of bitched about that. I was always like, it's a long drive, it's this, it's that, until the opportunity for it to happen in my basement came up. And I was like, I kind of wish I was driving somewhere, listening to music, getting pumped up. So I had one or two really fun times, right? Overall, I was like, but the main reason I'm not doing it from the club is because I am not confident that I have enough technical know-how to put forth a product that is sort of on par with what we do at the club. But I have
Got it.
in terms of live performances, I have like, we got a real standard of excellence at the club because that's the whole point. We're trying to exceed people's expectations in this little farm town in South Central PA, and that expectation of excellence as a venue has been what is making it's made the club popular in New York City. I mean, it's New York City comics. It's a spot that they like. It's a spot that they talk about, and I think it's that way because we carry ourselves a certain way. If I were to start an online show right now, I don't have the ability to do it as well as I would want to do it. So I've just sort of set it aside. We have other stuff going on. We're doing like a couples game show production where I got the local businesses to donate a bunch of prizes. I got a handful of couples lined up as contestants, be like kind of a newlywed game. We're going to release it on the Facebook page, kind of keep people engaged. Not going to make any money off it, but just for fun, to stay relevant. I think we'll probably stay there when it comes to digital content.
I love that. I'd like to go back to, people tune in to get to know comedians and club owners and bookers. I'd like to go back again to
Sure.
your early start in comedy, if you don't mind me segueing away from this to
Yeah.
your club owning thing. But when you got, I love asking comedians two more questions. One, what was it like the first time you got yourself on stage? How scared were you? How did it go? Did you have nerves before, after? What did people say? I want to hear about the first experience you had.
You're not going to like the fact that I don't have as clear a memory of it as I probably would like to.
That's
Um, it
okay.
it was at Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, New York, and I believe it was like January or February 2002. So I was in my early 20s. Um, it was I had, as a bringer, so I had to bring people. I don't know who I brought. I don't know who was there. It was all kind of a blur, but I do recall being nervous, but also being relieved that I'd finally done this thing that I knew I had wanted to do since I was a kid.
Yes.
I didn't start comedy when I was 18 years old. I mean, I started comedy post 9/11. Within 5 months of 9/11, I was doing comedy because, like a lot of people, like we kind of thought, well, it's going to be mushroom clouds all over the place pretty soon, so let's go do the things we want to do. And that was the thing I wanted to do. So it's kind of a blur. I remember where it is. Oddly, it's weird. I saved the tumbler glass that I had on stage with me, right? And I had the wherewithal to actually like write the date on it. I wrote this is the first time you did stand up on. I still have it on my desk at the club. I even wrote at the very bottom what liquor was in the glass. It's the weirdest thing because I don't drink. I haven't drank in almost a decade. I haven't had a drink. Uh, but I had all this stuff and it's now it holds all kinds of pens and stuff on my desk. Uh, so that's like the clearest memory I have of my first time doing stand up is the tumbler glass that I saved when I did it. I don't think I did well to be truthful. I mean, people told me I was funny, uh, but I've seen so many people do comedy their first time. I have to just guarantee I sucked when I did it, but it was enough. I got enough validation, I guess, to be like, that's it, off and running. I'm gonna do this every opportunity I can.
So I have to ask the question, pardon me, but I'd be remiss not to ask. Do you not remember it because you were drinking at the time?
Perhaps. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I can't say that I've got like a crystal clear memory of much between like, 18 and 27 years old,
Yes.
Uh, but I don't I won't blame the whole thing on drinking, I'll blame part of it on drinking, but I wouldn't say that I wasn't drunk or nothing when I
Yeah.
was doing it. I stayed sober enough because I was worried I might like slur my words, so I definitely wasn't drunk, but probably had a nice coat of primer on, if you know what I mean. Hmm.
I started when I was 63 years old, 6.5 years ago. And I remember my first time, not so much because of nerves or how I did or anything, because that was a joke. But what I do remember is the guy standing in front of me. We had to stand in a line. The lineup was really a lineup. And the guy behind me, um, he said he was a psychic. So I said, "Well, what do you see around me?" And he said, "Your father." And I said, "Okay, what's he saying?" And he said, "He's proud of you." And I said, "Anybody else?" And he said, "Your mother, but she won't talk." And I thought, you nailed it.
Wow.
That was weird.
Did you have to follow the psychic at the open mic? That's
Yeah,
tough.
he said he was a psychic. I don't even remember how he did. I don't, like, everything was a blur.
Yeah, isn't that the truth, man? There's so much excitement wrapped around it, for all of us probably at that first time, that it's a big ask to to not only do it but to also like take stock and remember it.
I
It's
know.
not it's not like it's recorded. There's no recording of it, and even if it was, it'd be on VHS. If there were, I don't even know what you even do with that thing. Now I have tapes up in the attic from Gotham Comedy Club in the early 2000s, and I'd have to like go buy a VCR. They don't have those at Walmart. You can't buy a VCR at Walmart. DVD players are like $30 now.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no record exists of my first time doing stand up. It was
Ah.
officially too long ago, I guess.
At what point in your career did you become a club owner? And then I have a club owner question for you.
I opened the club in 2018. So, um, you have to, yeah, I think for context, I did stand up from like 2002. In 2002, after I'd done stand up for like maybe 6 months in New York, I had decided, because I had known I wanted to leave Long Island after 9/11, because, and if anybody who lived on Long Island or Manhattan or New York City or in that area, my experience on Long Island was that we were trapped because you couldn't leave Long Island, because, yeah, in order to leave Long Island, you have to either take a ferry, you've got to take a plane, or there's only a select few roads that go through the city, and so you couldn't leave Long Island. I felt very trapped, and people were actually, in the days that followed 9/11, they were like getting in boats, like jumping in boats. And I was like, this is chaos, man. If we make it out of this, I gotta get the hell out of here. Because if this happens again, I don't want to be stuck here. So I'd already made up my mind. I was leaving Long Island probably, by the end of 2001, because I was scared. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I was scared. I was scared. Everybody was scared.
Yeah.
So I went to Vegas because that's what I knew. I was born in Vegas. I'd lived in Vegas until I was like, to kindergarten, whatever. So I went out there. I did comedy out there from 2002 to 2007. I met my wife in Vegas while she was on vacation in 2006 or 2005 or so. When we moved in 2007, we had two kids. We had a baby and another one on the way. I moved to Pennsylvania here with her, where she's from. And I did one or two shows down in Baltimore when I got here. and it was too much. Like, we had 3 little kids in diapers at that time, so I stopped. My comedy journey stopped, came to a grinding halt in 2007. I pointed all of my focus on going back to school and getting a real job so that I could afford these kids and, live a more conventional life. Because I wasn't like a terribly successful comedian when I was in Las Vegas. I was like an open micer with a couple of paid gigs tops. Um, so I was away from comedy from 2007, 2008 until I didn't resume doing stand up until like 2016. So I was away from stand up for a long time. And during that time, I got a master's degree. I was running a residential psychiatric center. I was a dementia coordinator, and then I ran a retirement community with 250 beds. I mean, so I got worn out, burnt out, and dried out, and I went and did an open mic 2016, and I really didn't. I felt like I was better than I was before, just out of nowhere. I was like, holy moly, I think I just did the best stand up I ever did in my life. I haven't touched a mic in 7 years. And then from there, I went full tilt into it until eventually in 2017, I left that job. I retired from the healthcare world. My wife was very supportive of it. Um, I started a consulting business and was just hitting comedy all the time, all the time. Every time I could, started getting more paid work, more traveling work. And then the club I just kind of stumbled on. I literally stumbled upon the place. I was doing some shows there. It was a cafe. All of a sudden, the place closed down. It sat there. And then for like, I don't know, 8 months, 6 months later, I drove by it and I was like, son of a gun, the place is still empty. Just made a couple phone calls. And before I knew it, I was putting pen to paper, signing a lease. And the rest just sort of just dominoes just started falling on top of each other. It was really fast and overwhelming because I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a club owner, you know? Um, so anyway, that's how it started. That's how the club owner part started. It was very much accidental almost. It was never my intention to be a club owner. I just want to be a comedian. But the beautiful thing about it is that the club's only maybe 15 minutes from my house. So, I can still be part of comedy and be a part of that world without having to sacrifice, my house and my kids and my wife, because I don't want to. I don't want to be apart from that experience. It's kind of why I left the job I was in, because I was working 70 hours a week, whatever. Uh, so that was it. That was the balance. The balance was, you know what? I found a place where I can be connected to comedy, and it's close enough to home to where I can get even more connected to my family than I have been. So that was sort of the arrangement, as it were.
I have two questions. I said one, but I came up with a change. You know how women
Yeah.
are.
Your
Yeah.
show, man. Your show.
What is it that you're in a club, you've done comedy, you've traveled, been a road comedian. So I want to ask you, comedians throw out advice. Let's say you have a so-so set and you stand near a comedian with experience. And they'll say, you just need to learn how to read the room. That's your only problem. Just learn how to read the room. What's that mean?
Oh, okay.
You.
Yeah, well, I think you learn to read the room uh really as a matter of the process of just doing a ton of comedy. I think sometimes we're convinced that our jokes are funny. Sometimes we're right. Sometimes we write a joke and it's good. But if we tell a preceding joke, that's a good way to and listen, here's the thing. I don't know that I'm necessarily the right person to be giving people advice, right? Like I can barely pay my bills. I went to a community college the last time I got my teeth cleaned because they were doing it for free. Like, so I don't know if you take my advice with a grain of salt, but I know that for me, if I've got a joke that's like particularly new, or maybe it's a joke that's a little bit polarizing, I know it's good, but sometimes it doesn't land all the time. I may even write a cush joke before it that's slightly less testy, but I'll know with that shitty joke that I'm willing to throw away whether or not they're even going to bite on the good one. So if I like I may if I say I have like a political joke or something like that that can either one way or another, depends on what type of crowd I got. I'll tell a softer version of it leading up to it. And if that one fails, I'll just put my good political joke in my pocket and I'll tell something else to this crowd. I could learn a lot about a crowd by what they don't laugh at,
I love that.
you know.
I love that.
But you gotta be quick about it though. So that's why like if I tell people, and honestly I don't tell people, nobody asks me for advice. So but for me, I'll do a little one beforehand, and if they don't give me the impression that they like that little one, it's probably a good indicator they're not gonna like the next one. So rather than piss them off, I might just go in another direction, you know. But at least I kind of know where their heads at collectively. So I mean that would be one thing about reading a room. I also think that that's sort of that's one of those like phrases that I think we say it like it's a thing. It's kind of like when somebody's like, "Oh, you just have to manage your approach," or just, "Oh, just show a little empathy." Like these are just like words in the English language that don't have don't have like a process that you have to get good at. You have to exercise empathy. You have to exercise your approach, and you have to exercise your ability to read a room of people, particularly if it's dark and you can't see their faces. Now you have to read their, you have to read all kinds of other indications. So I think, I don't know, I feel like it's a cop out to just be like, read the room. It's like, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
uh,
Exactly my point.
but, and like, again, I don't
But
know.
it's important.
That's just my opinion on things.
Yeah. Okay, my last question about being a club owner comedian is, what are the top ways you can get booked by you? And what are the top ways you're going to be on the back shelf and never be considered?
All right. I won't blacklist anybody unless they do something pretty horrific. Um, I've yet to encounter that. I've given multiple chances to people that perhaps I shouldn't have. I've given chances to people who, um, well, not chances. I've given multiple opportunities to people who maybe I've been sort of pushed along to be like, move on from this person. Uh, so in that area, like, I don't know, you really, really got to piss me off and people will probably say that about me, you got to be really awful to land on my naughty list. Uh, but as far as getting booked, when it comes to, I want to see some kind of professionalism, like the ability to put together multiple sentences with some modicum of respect for the English language and for punctuation and for form. I mean, I don't, me personally, like, I don't want the initial contact to be full of emojis and, yeah, it's just, that's just me. I get an impression when that happens. It's not to say you're not going to get a chance. It's just to say that, like, if I get the impression that somebody has taken the time to put together an email with a website, with available dates, with promotional materials, with headshots, it all comes in one shot, right? Right. The old press kit. That shows me that you take this seriously. It shows me that you're probably working on your comedy when no one's looking. That means a lot to me. It's that, I'm going to learn that from those initial correspondences as the club owner. If you send me a video, you please be funny in the first 30 seconds. Like, don't send me a video where it could be the best joke you got, and it might be an incredible joke. But if I got to wait like 5 minutes for the punchline, um, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm never going to see the punchline because I might have 100 videos in my mailbox. There's only so many minutes in every hour. So let me have it. Like, send me this stuff. Send me, you can send me a couple videos, but if your website has multiple videos, then it's up to me, which I would recommend for comics. If you have a website, put some videos up there that you're not worried about being out there, so that bookers can take a look at them at their leisure. But if you're just going to put a video in an email and be like, "Hey, this is me. I'm amazing. I can headline," you You better make me laugh quick. There was one comedian, his name's Mike Leibovitz. He's hilarious, New York City comedian. I love the guy. He's been on HBO. He's hilarious. His video, I didn't even make it through 45 seconds of his video before I hit him back and was like, let's make it happen. And he's one of the best comedians I've ever seen live. I mean, I saw Robin Williams live. So I mean, this guy is the real deal. He's hilarious, but he got booked. I didn't even read the guy's bio.
Wow.
I watched his video first. I was laughing out loud. That was
Wow.
it. That's all it took. But for me, maybe I'm becoming a millennial. I need to be immediately satisfied with something. Uh, but I think that's a really important thing that comedians got to do when they're trying to get booked is they're going to have to try and appeal to the humor in the person watching the video. And they got to remember that their video is probably one of 100 or more videos that are going to be looked at today. So put your best foot forward and put it forward quick. So that doesn't mean send a 30-second clip. I want to be clear about that. It means send a clip to me where you're in the first 30 to 45, 60 at the tops. Like I want to hear the crowd laughing fast. That does a lot for me. As the owner, I'm sorry guys. I'm less interested in your jokes as I am in how much the people watching you are roaring with laughter. I don't even know what Mike Leibovitz's joke was. I have no idea what his joke was. I couldn't even, I'd have to watch it again. It was his energy, it was his mojo, and it was how much the crowd was enjoying him. As the club owner, that's what I need. I need the crowd to walk out being like, oh my gosh, we got to come back. That's what I need. It's different. It's a weird sort of the disparity between being the comedian and being the club owner. It's farther apart than I think I was prepared for.
Yes. So do you find as a club owner that it helps your comedy? Do you host, or do you find that watching videos has made your comedy get better, or just it has no impact,
Nah,
just two
nah,
different?
I don't. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, watching other comedians' videos, I you know, I it it hasn't done much for my comedy. Even the really great ones that I've watched, I really work hard not to take influence from other people's comedy as best I can. I think it's kind of impossible to do it totally, but I try not to. Being the club owner, especially in the beginning when we was just getting started, I mean, I probably hosted almost every single show for months because I couldn't afford to pay anybody to do it, and I'm not, I don't pay a lot in our club, but that's because I don't have a liquor license. It's BYOB. There's no food. I have partnerships with local restaurants to deliver food. And I only have 50 seats, and I can't charge $100 a ticket in South Central Pennsylvania. So, I think I'm very fair in how much of my profit margin I assign and allocate to labor for comics. I think that is apparent when people come and perform. They kind of do the math in their head, and they're like, "Dang man, taking most of the money tonight," and that goes a long way. But that really helped my comedy, and I suggest that to a lot of comedians that are coming up and getting started. If you have an opportunity to, like, set up a show at some venue, maybe at a bar or a winery, if you can put a situation where you produce a show yourself and you host a lot, that MC experience really helps you. In particular, to go back to your earlier question, it helps you a great deal in being able to read rooms from the MC spot. So being a host helped me a lot. And I think for me, I got to a point where I was like, all right, I know I've hosted enough because now I hate it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it also allowed me a chance to give, as my team at the club started to develop and grow, some other young, there were other younger comedians coming in and helping. So, and as I started to, feature and headline more, I I had them hosting the shows for me, and it's developed them into better comedians. So I think hosting is really important. I think it's a great mechanism for getting better.
Absolutely. This is kind of my last question. And after this, I'll leave it open for you to close out the show by telling people what you'd like from them, how to support, where to
Sure.
follow you, all of that, what's coming up. Is your wife a comedian?
No, heavens no. That's why we're still married.
What what line of work is your wife in?
She's the therapist. That's why we're still married.
Oh
Huh? Huh? Huh?
my God.
When she met me, she knew I was a comedian though. So like she didn't know what she was getting herself into. It wasn't like one day I dropped a bomb on her. I was like, hey, I've wanted to do this since I was 12. I was doing it when she met me. So not a comedian though.
Did she come to you met her at one of your shows?
Nope. Nope. I met her at the Sun Coast. Yep. Went out. There was a cover band that used to play, might even still play up there, but they were called the Spasmatics. They played like 80s cover music.
Yeah,
And one of my friends in Vegas was like, hey, my cousin's out visiting from Pennsylvania. Why don't you come out tonight? And I went out and met her, and that was that.
that's so cool. That's really cool. What's it like being married to somebody who can figure out your psyche?
Awful. Um, yeah, she's got me figured out, man. I think she's actually like secretly writing a thesis on me. Uh, you know, yeah, she's got me, but she keeps me in my place. I think that's important. I think it's really easy for a comedian to maybe feel a little bigger than they are, get inside your head a little bit. And if it's really grounding to be reminded that like the garbage isn't going to take itself out type of thing, you know. Uh, and she's a great mom too. So
You're awesome. You're so great. Oh my gosh. I knew you would be funny, but you've kept me in stitches through this whole thing. You have. I call it a
very,
thing. Don't even
very
call it a
kind, very, very kind of you. I appreciate that.
So I'd like you to tell people who are listening to the end or tuning in at the end or going to watch it later, people coming to this video, wrap it up for us. Take up to 5 minutes. Anything you want to say to get them to follow you, to support you, to come to your club when it opens, whatever else you're working. Anything you want to tell comedians or normal people like your wife,
Civilians
anything.
call them.
It's the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I mean, I can't say that I've actually talked about myself as much as I just did. So that, I mean, not to let you guys down that are watching this, but you now know like 100% of really me. uh, but you can follow me on just the platforms. The club is Church of Satire Comedy Club. Um, I recorded I recorded a couple albums there. One of them's audio. That's Where the Hell is Easy Street. That was the first one that I did. And then the second one is video. It's on Amazon Prime right now. That's been really well received. I've been really happy with it. It was produced by Level Up Comedy out of DC. Glenn and Stephanie Lawrence. You should Stephanie Kinsella and Glenn Lawrence. Check them out on social media. They're great producers. Um, and the funny thing about the Laid Back Maniac was after I recorded Where the Hell is Easy Street, I sold the building out like 4 shows, and I was like, man, we made a lot of money because I didn't have to pay a headliner because it was me. So I I used for the promo the next time I headlined the club. I was behind on bills. We were struggling, and I was like, hell, I'll just tell everybody I'm doing another album. That'll pack the place out. I said, we'll just set up cameras and stuff. I was like, honestly, I said, who cares if we even keep it? Like, I got to pay the rent, man. Like, let's just fill the building. It worked last time, and I did it. And I was like, yeah, another album. I wasn't ready to record another album at all. But I needed to sell tickets. And that was just the way that I did it. And then we did the show, and man, I tell you, I had so much fun. I can't remember having so much fun. I'm so blessed to have had that show caught on camera because the material. I stand behind the material. It's good. I was confident enough to do it, but like I've since that show that's on Amazon Prime, I've punched up almost every one of them jokes to be even better.
Wow.
But I had so much fun. And you know, when you have one of them nights where you're just, you're at 35, 45 minutes and you just like, man, I feel like I can go forever. The crowd's with you. It was amazing. And I got it all on camera and it was edited really great. So that's on Amazon Prime. I'm a nobody. So you're not just going to be able to search Jim Bryan, right? Like, because I'm anonymous. So you'll actually have to type in laid back maniac. But I would appreciate if you watch it, share it with your friends, comment on it, right?
I
That would be
will.
great. Yeah, that would be great. Share it with 100,000 of your closest friends if you wouldn't mind. Um, and then, I mean, apart from that, you can follow me on Instagram. I have one of those annoying Instagram handles. It's my Instagram handle is that comic who runs a club. So you can follow me there. I share all kinds of, fun stuff about my farm and my animals and, my kids and stuff. Try to keep the kids out of it a little bit. But, kind of give people some insight into what it's like because I got a little bit of a peculiar life, being born in Vegas and raised on Long Island and living in Vegas. I mean, uh, to wind up where I am right now with goats and a pony and chickens and dogs and cats everywhere and 5 kids. I mean, how did this happen? Uh, so I just, it's the one unique thing about me is the manner of the life that I lead. So I encourage people to follow both me on Facebook and on Instagram because you can get some insight into that and maybe help point you towards both the club and the albums that I've done. And then we have a merch store on the club. We have world-class logos at the club created by Craig Paul, one of a kind. So you can go to the website Church of satirecomedyclub.com and you can go to the club store and you can buy merch, t-shirts, sweatshirts, all kinds of stuff with club gear on it. And then you could also go to www.5naturalmonkeys.com, which is my wife's shop where she sells all natural soap and lotions and essential oil stuff and craft stuff and all kinds of really good beard products. Then you can shop there and we'll ship it all over the country. So we're hustlers over here. That's what we do.
Wow. So you have like, does she use goat byproducts?
Nah, man. I don't know if you've ever had the displeasure of milking a goat, but you sit there and milk all day long and maybe take a shot of goat's milk. The juice ain't worth the squeeze if you catch my drift.
Oh my gosh. Is there any question or any part of your life I didn't open up that you'd like to talk about that I missed bringing out?
You have brought up everything that I would like to be brought up.
I love it. You've been a delight. I'm
Oh, it's
going
a
to
pleasure.
go and I'm going to type up things on this post so that people will see it. And I'll share it a few times more today.
Well, I'll share it too so that people can come and watch other interviews that you've done.
Thank
You're
you.
good. You're good interviewer, Linda. Good stuff.
I'm
Yeah,
Barbara
nice job.
Walters on crack.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, everybody needs an angle, you know?
Thank you so much, Jim Bryan. You guys, let's get to know him and support him. Thank you
Take
for
care
coming
now.
on.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you. Have a great day.
Bye. Love you lots.
Bye bye.
Bye.